Alrighty folks, coming at you guys today with a tier list update for version 1.6.2. The patch has been out for a little over a week now. We've got plenty of time to play on it, check out the meta. Not too much has changed, some augments got adjusted, a couple heroes got balanced up or down. If you want to catch up on all of my impressions following the patch, I put out a State of the Game video. I'll put that thumbnail up here and link it in the description as well. Just some general things that we've been noticing since the patch came out. Let's get into this tier list update. I'll put the previous tier list up on the screen here for 1.6. In that one, I delineated it a little bit differently. I had a top win rates and a bottom win rates section that was just based on the top 3 and bottom 3 win rate heroes off of Ometa City. Check out for yourself Ometa City /heroes. I will link it below as well. You can come in here, look at whatever rank that you're at, look at the rank ahead of you, sort by win rate, sort by pick rate, and just dive into these stats if you want. I do spend a lot of time checking these out. You also have win rate trends here since the previous patch, so it's a very helpful resource, like I said, linked below. But let's get into the tier list itself. I have removed the top and bottom win rates tier because I know it was confusing some people, you know, like, okay, this hero may be good, but they have a bottom win rate, you know, whatever it may be. So we've kind of just cut both of those out, and then we've added an extra tier in here. The way I've got these set up is S tier, which is pick or ban heroes that you should be picking or banning in your ranked games just about every time, which I've combined what previously was the top 3 win rates into it. We'll, you know, move a lot of heroes around here in just a second. A tier, which is always good value, heroes I expect to be a good pick just about every game if you're just okay with them. These are not super high, well, some of them are high skill required heroes, but not really. These are just heroes that when I see them picked on my team, I expect them to get good value. B tier, which is the one I've added, a new tier for us that I've got right in the middle, and I've called it great if you're great. There's been a lot of heroes sitting in these lower tiers for me because they have poor win rates, or which if they have poor win rates, it means that also the majority of the time when I see them picked in my games, we're more likely to lose. That's how statistics work. It's just if a hero has a bad win rate and he's on my team, statistically, more often than not, that player is not good enough to win the game, but sometimes they are. So we put a tier in here for these high skill cap heroes. I'm looking at you, Wraith. Before you guys get all wound up, I'm looking at you, Wraith. For these heroes that if you're good with them, you can carry games. The hero itself has a great kit if you're great with them and can make it work. C tier, which is decent situational picks, counter picks type tier. And then D plus tier, which is low expectations, boom or bust. I don't expect to have too many in that tier right now. I think the balance is pretty good compared to at least how it has been. I think 1.6.2 tightened it down a good bit. So let's get right into it. I'm just going to go top to bottom, hero by hero, say a couple things about them, if they've changed, if they haven't, and move them around. First off, Chimera. He's still Chimera, right? He still should be picked or banned in just about every game in your ranked matches. He has the highest win rate in jungle. He has for a while now at least been a top 3 jungler, still a top 3 jungler. Gonna be probably not the top of my S tier because we'll go ahead and say it, Yuri is still absolutely insane. She got some number adjustments, but to like her scaling and stuff, but the numbers were not what makes this hero strong. You can go ahead and light me up in the comments and say, hey, her ultimate needs to be buffed, maybe it needs to have a 25-second silence attached to it and it needs to cover the whole map, or whatever you have to say. This hero is fundamentally broken, gonna be at the top of my S tier. Just absurd. The mobility is absurd. The damage output, even with the reductions, is absurd. Her ult is so overpowered. It is just a 10 times better version of Faye ult. And if we're calling Faye ult balanced, how in the world are we calling Yuri ult balanced? Because you can't even blink out of this thing most of the time. It's going to take your blink and still not let you out. So now that we've got those out of the way, Yuri going to be my number 1. Chimera is going to be up here for sure. Seraph, she got some nerfs, and a lot of the items that you would build on her did get nerfed. I think she's back down to earth. I think we probably are going to have her towards the top of A tier. Still a very strong hero, but she may actually end up towards the bottom of S tier because you should see her picked or banned in just about all of your ranked games, I think. Sparrow, kind of the clear-cut #1 carry, was competing more with Rev. Now Rev has taken some hits. Sparrow is still extremely strong, actually stronger with the move speed augment now that it gives more move speed on 1.6.2. Gonna stay up here in S tier for me. Greystone, I still like him. He's still a menace, still hard to play into, hard to ever have kill potential on a Greystone in solo lane after level 6, because you can spend your entire health and mana bar getting him low and he will just ult right back up. Probably going to stay in S tier for me. Yeah, I think I like him in S tier. Steel, I think we're going to drop Steel down. He got some damage output reductions, but he's still a Steel player. If you're good with Steel, you're almost always going to get good value with him. Smash all your buttons, CC the enemy team to death, and soak an absurd amount of damage for your team. That's what Steel does. That's what he's always going to do. Happy that he's in a decent spot. His 2 shield augment did get a little bit better because it comes with reduced shield cooldowns, but it's still probably the worst of his 3 augments. Just an always good value hero. Morn, extremely valuable. I don't think he's really must pick or ban status. I think he is always good value, but you're pretty much, you're going to see him banned occasionally, but you're almost always going to at least have the option to take him on one of the teams or the others, because there's so many other bans that people are looking at and that they definitely don't want to play against. They're going to get banned before him most of the time. Morn's still a very good support and easily a top 3 support. The Mez is just super strong for teammates. The heal is great. The universal presence is great. Not too much negative to say about Morn right now. The augments, he really didn't get adjustments in 1.6.2, but the augments are still good on him. Quang, I think Quang probably is going to deserve to be up here in the pick or ban category still. You will see Quang banned a lot. You will see Quang picked a lot, especially at flat and above, where people are hitting those sword throws and getting insane value out of him. Very playable in jungle, solo, even support if you're good with them. Just a strong hero. Got nerfs, as most of the other magical heroes did get nerfs, but I think it just kind of put him more in line with the damage output relative to the reduced magic armor that everybody is rocking now. And then final discussion up here in the S tier, Rev. We're going to drop Rev down to the, I think we're actually going to drop Rev into the more reasonable great if you're great tier, because Rev is just one of those carries. Yes, he is in a good spot right now. Yes, he is in a better spot than he's been the majority of this game's life cycle, but you still will find yourself in a lot of situations where you cannot out DPS other carries like Sparrow, Kira, Murdoch, even Twin and Grim. A lot of times in the early to mid game, you will not be able to out DPS them. Still a very strong hero, but you have like no room for error basically with him. You have to be hitting every 4th shot to get enough damage out to fight most of these other carries. I think great if you're great, probably the top of great if you're great is where he's going to set for me, because he's still in a great spot, I think. You just have so little room for error with him, and if your support's not helping you out enough, it's going to be hard to get ahead with him. But once you're ahead with Rev, the game's pretty much wrapped. So that's going to do it for our S tier. We might come back and look at some of these heroes at the end, but let's keep going through it. Faye, still an incredibly strong hero. I think we actually end up probably moving her up some. Hard to move her much up from here, right? Just a very impactful hero. Wins mid lane almost every single time. Top win rate mid laner, I think at most ranks. Not at all ranks, but at most ranks. Top win rate mid laner. Very strong hero right now. As far as best at her role, that is where she deserves to be. Iggy maybe slides down a little bit. Not incredibly overpowered by any means. I think he's in a decent spot. The 4 turrets augment getting nerfed and the turrets themselves doing a little bit less damage is somewhat noticeable. Much easier to play into an Iggy than it was before. I think he's still like a top 3 mid laner just because of his crazy team fight presence and jungle objective contesting options. Countess still very strong both in solo and mid and jungle. I like her probably here towards the top of A tier. Didn't really get any nerfs like some of the other magic damage dealers did. She got very slight nerfs. Still does the Countess things that you want Countess to do. Mobile, can dive backline, can one-shot people, can stay alive, does max health damage, so a good tank killer to have on your team. Kira, I think just a clear-cut top 3, top 4 if you really stretch it. Carry right now, very strong if she gets ahead, great mobility, some of the best mobility, if not the best mobility that you're going to get out of any carry with the dash resets and whatnot. Just really strong. All of her augments still feel good. Very competitive carry right now. I don't know if we really slide her up much. I think she's already, like, this is probably already a fair location for her. Ramp, I think we maybe slide him down a little bit. Do we slide him out of the tier? Ramp is still very good. Tiny Ramp got nerfs, so that you have to get him more online before he's really that much of a menace. I think maybe we put him in great if you're great, just because if you're playing Ramp and you're not hitting any rocks, it's going to be really hard to find ramp value compared to some of his competition like Chimera, Boris, and these other bulkier junglers. Still very decent, still very viable, but you have to be able to hit those rocks in order to get good ganks off the majority of the time. So I think great if you're great is a good spot for him. Takes a little bit of skill, but he is still pretty much almost always a good value. I don't know if we want to put him. We may adjust him around later. He may end up towards the bottom of A tier for us. Boris actually got helped out a lot by his augment adjustments. I think he definitely deserves to be near the top of always good value tier. One of the stronger junglers in competition with Chimera, just because you have good options on him now. You can go tank Boris with the armor bonus augment, or you can go damage Boris with the bonus damage when enemies are low augment. Both of them are very strong now. He definitely feels better than he did before. I was in 1.6. He definitely feels better in 1.6.2. So I think we'll leave him around up here. I think he is in a good spot right now. Aurora. I've had good games with Aurora recently. I think she still deserves to be up here. I think we maybe slide her down a little bit. Maybe slide her down a hair. I think Richter may gap her here a little bit. Still a very strong solo laner, very strong jungler or support, can flex all of those roles, gives your team great CC, forces cleanses to come out early in team fights if that's what you want to do with her, or just shuts team fights down completely if they don't have their cleanse available. Still high skill cap with the ice wall. I think she's going to stay in A tier for us. Richter, I think Richter's got to go down here. I think we maybe even slide him over ramp, just because of the potential you have with Richter. If you are great with Richter, he is a straight-up game winner. There's nothing you can do about it. If he's hitting those pulls, your duo lane is behind. If he's in jungle and he's coming out and ganking and hitting those pulls, you're probably dead for it. Richter, an absolute game changer. Great if you're great. If you're not hitting those pulls, you could find better value in a lot of these other supports for sure. I think Narbash is kind of in the same bucket. You're going to have great, pretty much always good value with Narbash in the late game, but you've got to be good enough with him to get to that late game status. You've got to be able to support your carry in such a way where you don't feed. He's a slower starting support for sure. You have good build options on him though. I think he's great if you're great. The high win rate that he has in Plat, Diamond, and Paragon goes to show that he is an absolute game changer to have on your team if you're good with him and you know where to be with him. You know when to hit your abilities, who to peel, who to target. Still very strong with the attack speed boosting augment to help your team take jungle objectives quickly. Iggy we already discussed. Crunch. I think Crunch is still in a really good spot. I think the total attack speed change on his bonus attack speed augment versus his built attack speed like he had before in 1.6 was a very good change for him. I discussed that briefly in my State of the Game video. Still in a very good spot, pretty much almost always a good value to take him. Even if you're just smashing buttons and you're not super elite with Crunch, I think he's going to find you good value with the CC. Just build him a little tanky and he's going to help your team out more the majority of the times. Healing Crunch is still the best way to go. Mutilator, Draconum, Voidhelm type build with like Rapture could be in there as well. Some sort of attack speed item, Earthshaker is very valuable on him. Yin, I think we're going to slide down into great if you're great tier. Yin, just one of those heroes that has such a slow early game the majority of the time in jungle, but late game is a carry, essentially has carry scaling in the late game, bonus attack speed passive, strong augments. I always use the heal based off of your missing health augment on her stem that makes the stem longer as well. It is very strong, helps her get online quicker, helps you benefit more from health item builds as well if you're throwing the Earthshaker in there, or if you're throwing in Overlord Eggs of Aguilar, which, it's how I build her. It's not how I'm going to recommend you build her, but it's how I like to build her. The missing health augment does feel very good. If you're great with her, you can shut down team fights. She's almost a situational pick because you want to have opponents that have projectiles you can deflect or stop with her ult, but still great if you're great. Even if they don't have a lot of high value projectiles to stop and deflect, she's going to get good value on her if you're great with her. Murdoch, I think I don't really know if he's really up here anymore, to be honest with you. He is still a very good carry. I think he still just offers great tech options at the carry role. I played around with the extra root mines augment the other day, and it was actually quite fun to just have a ton of root mines and throw them all over the lanes and shut people down. It was very fun. I don't think he really competes with Skylar. I think he is still a decent carry. Pretty much, I think always good value does kind of define Murdoch, because even if you only hit 1 or 2 snipes in the game, that can be enough of a swing to kind of help out in some fights and get him ahead. So he may slide down a little bit here towards the kind of lower side of A tier, but I think he is pretty much always a good value. Skylar, I think this is an appropriate separation between her and Kira. I think she is still a top 3, top 4 carry right now. She got buffs. They do feel good. Her ult, if you're building the Overseer Typhoon build and dropping that 3-shot ult, it will destroy people for sure. But it comes out a little slow, so it's not like crazy overpowered. Just a strong carry, a great tank killer with the beam. Counters Yin extremely hard. Just a solid carry. I like her. I think she's a top 4 carry without a doubt right now. One of, if not the best, tank killer with that beam. Belica and Howie, both in very good spots. I don't know if I want to really talk about them together too much, but they are very similar. We'll talk about Belica first. A solid support for sure. A high pressure, high damage, high clear speed support. Offers you good options with the silence, offers good tech. The knock-up is very punishing. The hitbox on it is always questionable. I feel like I get knocked up by the Belica knock-up when I'm just outside of the hitbox on the ground all the time. So I think just for those reasons, she's got to stay up here in A, always good value. Still feels like she did in 1.6. Didn't really get any changes. Howie, also not receiving really any changes, but I have been picking him up more. Feels very strong. I feel like he's right up here with, honestly, I feel like he's kind of up here a little bit higher with Iggy. Yes, Belica has good value, but Howie has better safety with that knockback mine. You can have the room to play more aggressive and still be able to knock yourself back out of bad situations and knock people away from you. All of his augments feel good. I've played with all of them. I keep coming back to the attack speed one just for consistent damage, but the ult move speed one is really insane. Just an always good value mid, no matter how you want to play him. If you want to play him Soulbinder Overseer with the ult move speed and just nuke people with Wraith leggings and stuff, that's fine. If you want to play him Typhoon, Prophecy, and build attack speed on him, he can absolutely delete. Like, he's such a consistent high damage auto attacker with that build, with the Typhoon, Prophecy, and his augment. So I think either way you can't go wrong. I'm going to set him here above Iggy. I think that's an appropriate spot for him because he's just so consistently valuable and more safe than somebody like Belica, who doesn't have the mobility, in mid lane at least. In support, I would obviously take Belica over him. Gideon, very good performer. I think really neck and neck with Belica, I think, as far as where I would want to put him. The change to True Silver being placed after his ult augment shield, or before, I guess I should say, so that True Silver stays up longer and more active, is very good for him. He was already pretty decent before. Orb of Growth builds on Gideon, and with True Silver second goes absolutely crazy right now. Overseer, Caustica, you could just delete entire teams. You can check out the State of the Game video I put out. The background footage in that was building the Orb of Growth True Silver bracelet Gideon build, and it's a lot of fun. It's consistently good value. I think right like neck and neck with Bellica, you can make an argument either way, just because he has such good safety, such good consistent high DPS, fast wave clear, and a game-changing ult, especially if you're building True Silver. Murdoch we already discussed. I think he is going to set down here in the lower side of A. And then Decker, I think I'm actually going to slide her down. She's been struggling in win rate recently, like we discussed in the last tier list. I think all ranged supports really have been struggling with their win rate. I think if you are great with Decker, you are going to have a big impact in your game, pretty much every game, but you've got to be good with her. You've got to be able to hit those bouncy balls. You've got to cage at the right time because the cooldown's long. You've got to hit those ults when it matters. And I think compared to most of the tank supports right now, like Richter, Steel, Morn, Narb, you're just finding more consistent value with them with the little bit less tanky meta that we're in right now. So that's it for A tier. B tier we've already put together. Let's look into C tier, see if we want to move anybody up or down, maybe? Maybe, probably not. Wukong, I think he's a quintessential great if you're great type hero. I think he goes maybe right below Richter as far as your chances to swing a game with him by himself. Incredible split pusher in solo lane. Decent jungler, especially once you get a little bit ahead. He's pretty much unstoppable, can solo jungle objectives. He's a great if you're great hero. I'm not a big fan of him because I'm not great with him. But once you get the hang of transitioning between the two phases of him or stances of him and using all 6 of his other abilities, very strong. The augment for extra clones is also very fun to see a ton of Wukong clones running around. Sev, I think decent or situational might be a little bit of a stretch. He is good right now. Situational may not be the right word for it because you could always probably flex a Sev into your solo lane and get value. I think we're going to leave him at the top of C tier because the game has to go long, similar to the state that Gadget's in. If the game is already wrapped up by the 20-minute mark, where if you're down 3-0 in Fangs by the 20-minute mark or something like that, it's going to be hard no matter how well you're doing with Sev to turn the game around by yourself. But a very strong hero. Him and Gadget, incredible late game heroes right now. I think top of C tier is where he's going to stay for me. Grim, I feel like I have to slide Grim up. Grim is kind of insane right now. If a Grim gets ahead, it feels impossible to get after him. I think we'll put him right around here with Wukong. Below Revenant for sure, but still, he got the augment that gives you a free Vank proc on his GTFO reset, his ult reset like Feng Mao's. Now has a free Vank proc associated with it, which is really strong. If you're on the like Wraith Leggings Overseer type Typhoon build on him, it goes absolutely hard. You can delete multiple people in a row with this much easier now. Feels really good. It's kind of still a situational pick because if your team does take heavy magical, you're going to be at a disadvantage. If you take a magical jungler and a magical solo laner or whatever it may be, and then you want to throw Grim in the mix too, you're basically handing them a free win. But if you're great with Grim, he is pretty insane right now, I'm not going to lie. He feels really good to play with right now. Mori, I think I want to leave her down here out of general disrespect for how Mori operates and the people who do main Mori and play Mori. Let me know in the comments. Mori is S tier. Go ahead. Let me know. She's just fundamentally like difficult to play into, but at the same time doesn't offer much to your team. I mean, you're talking about a mid laner who doesn't bring CC. Just a brawling type mid laner. Has her value for sure. But am I going to take her, or would I prefer to have her playing mid for me on my team than any of these guys? Howie, Iggy, Bellica, Gideon, Faye? Absolutely not. Just a no CC, big damage, big healing mid laner. I'm not a fan of Mori. She does have a high win rate at certain ranks right now, but when you get up to higher ranks, she does struggle more. I think a little bit overtuned right now, but that's how they have to have her. They have to have the numbers overtuned just so she doesn't look like an absolutely terrible mid laner because she's very numbers reliant. She's reliant on her healing numbers and her damage numbers, not on a well-placed Faye ult, a Howitzer chase down with his ult, Iggy with the turret placement. She doesn't have any sort of those tech pieces moving around. It's just you hit people, you deal damage, you heal. So decent, but situational. If you're good with her, you beat most people with her. That's how having big numbers works. But I just don't think a good mid laner right now. Muriel, kind of tempted to slide her up into great if you're great, but it's still a really situational pick. Like I've said, ranged supports having a tough time right now finding high win rates over the tankier supports. I think situational picks still good, still can swing team fights, still can save your jungler when he's in a bad situation and get your team more ahead. Has early game pressure in duo lane, just a situational pick for sure. Your team's got to play around you. You need to have another tank in solo lane and or jungle to go with her. That's kind of what you're giving up with any of these ranged supports right now. Zinx, in the same spot. You want a high value target to revive. You want high pressure early in duo lane. You want a mobile carry that you can get out of bad situations. You want to be able to hit your stuns. I think great if you're great isn't too far of a stretch for her either, just like Muriel, but it's just harder right now to find value with ranged supports. Gadget, I think we're going to slide Gadget. We may even slide Gadget over Sevarog right now. Gadget is in a really good spot. Decent or situational may not be the right word for it. It may be more like great if you're great. But the situation that she's terrible in is, like I said, when the game's wrapped up in 20 minutes. When the game's 3-0 and you're down in the fangs at the 20-minute mark, you're just looking at a tough comeback for Gadget. If you're ahead by the 20-minute mark, you're in a really good spot because late game, her and Sevarog are insane. Her damage output right now is just silly. Late game, they gave her Hat Mine extra scaling, and you're talking about a hero that's going to hit 800, 900 power by the 35-minute mark because of her passive. So just a really strong late game mage, has one-shot potential in the late game, but in the early game, you've just got to get those stacks up, and it takes a while. So beyond decent, but situational in that if the game's wrapped up too early and your team gets behind, you can't really offer as much. Good objective contesting still, though, with the ult. Shinbi feels really good. I've won a lot of my solo lane matches with Shinbi right now. I think I probably slide her above these ranged supports. I think I would rather see a Shinbi show up on my team the majority of the time than a Muriel or Zinx if they're not going to be just elite with her. Great split pusher, great safety, can build tank if you want. It's kind of fun to build tank on Shinbi right now too. Can get free haste if you take that augment. The other augments are just kind of okay. Really none of her augments are good, but a decent split pusher, a good asset to the team. I'm a fan of Shinbi right now. I've had good games with her recently. I kind of respect her more than Morgesh, I think, but just not not always valuable for sure. Twin Blast. Wouldn't be a stretch at all to say great if you're great. I think he feels good right now. He does feel good. You have good build options on him. If you're good enough to know what build you need to be going based on the enemy comp and your team's comp, he can be very great. A very high damage carry. I think carries in general are very tight, so it's hard to really have a lot of separation between him and Grim, because I think they're both very good. They're all right underneath that Skylar, Kira, Sparrow, Rev tier. They're all right there underneath them, fighting for that 5th and 6th spot. I think maybe we'll slide him up to the top of C tier just to show that there's not that much separation. But he still has a tough time getting through tanks early. In a meta where you are seeing tank supports, he's just not going to deal enough damage to a tank support early in the game to be as impactful as some of these other options. So I mean, it's really close, but we'll leave him down here for sure. Feng Mao, I think Feng Mao is a quintessential great if you're great type hero. Feng Mao can carry games right now. I think he's right in line with Wukong. I think the ult augment, getting a little bit knock-up reduction, actually a lot of knock-up reduction, was very necessary. The ult is still strong. It's probably still his strongest aug the majority of the time, right? Just because you can get the reset and then you can drop it on somebody else just for the knock-up purposes. I mean, and if you get your stacks online, you're going to be able to roll teams. So a great if you're great type hero. If you're not playing him near his limit, it can be very tough in both solo lane or jungle. But if you're playing him near his limit and you're hitting the bubble when you need to, very oppressive hero. Grux is just not in a great spot, man. Just doesn't feel good. Didn't get insane augments. His augments, especially the Blinkton's Chief one, did get a little bit of adjustment to be better, but it's just not... He will bully you if you let him, especially in solo lane. He does clear fast in jungle, but just not... doesn't have anything crazy that you look at these other people that play the roles better than him and say, man, I wish I had Grux to counter them. You know, I mean, as long as your opponent knows not to fight you early, they're going to be fine. Grux, just a very situational pick. I mean, maybe good if you're good, but very situational. Honestly, I think I'm going to slide him down to low expectations. I don't actually hold low expectations because I assume if I see someone pick Grux that they're like a Marvel Rivals player who's only ever played Grux. But would I tell a new player to hop on Grux and win lane? Probably not. The lack of mobility really makes it difficult compared to his competition. Even a lot of the tank supports right now could play solo lane and probably beat him the majority of the time. Richter absolutely destroys Grux in solo lane, so it's what it is. Low expectations for me. Boom or bust. I think that's probably the better description of it, is boom or bust. You can have a Grux in your solo lane that goes off, or you can have a Grux in your solo lane that gets farmed. And that's it for the C tier. Let's take a look at the D plus tier now, which was combined from the last video, being 2 tiers. I think Zarus is decent or situational, kind of in the same boat as Sev and Gadget a lot of the times. If the game goes along, he gets his Colosseum stacks online, or if you're taking the augment for free health and power and then building Overlord Aegis of Aguilar type build like I usually do, late game, he is absolutely insane in a really good spot. I think competing with Shinbi for sure. Right around there. I mean, you can have better games with him. If you are good with him, you can definitely have better games with him, but kind of just decent situational. Kallari, I would move Kallari to great if you're great, but honestly, she's just not right now. I've seen games where Kallari does go off, but still just doesn't have very impactful augments, has a tough time. You just have to be really, really good with her to get more value with her. And even then, you're kind of just playing her like as a just for fun type hero. It's a boom or bust hero just for fun. You're never going to, even if you go off with Kallari, the skill set that you have to go off with Kallari, you could have just played Yuri and went off, and it would have been a lot easier game for you. Or you could have just played Feng Mao, Wukong, Chimera, and went off, and it would have been easier for you. So just low expectations, very boom or bust type hero. Argus does feel good right now. I've had good games with him. I don't know if it's very respectful of Argus to have him down this low, because he can be impactful, but I generally still do hold low expectations for an Argus on my team compared to even some of these picks right here, and especially not a lot of mid laners in this tier. It kind of feels like all mid laners are really good value right now just because of the armor changes, but just okay. Low expectations for me. Boom or bust might be a stretch because you can land somewhere in the middle with Argus. Fun in support. I mean, I have a good time with him in support. But just low expectations really is why he's got to be down here. FaZe, she's probably going to be right around the bottom hero for me. I mean, just terrible. One of her augments is completely useless to straight up detrimental. The others are just okay. You have to be very good with FaZe just to get value with her. Suffers from the same thing that a lot of these other ranged supports suffer from, which is the fact that tankier supports are more valuable right now the majority of the time, and that early game pressure doesn't really trade off for too much, at least in the late game. So if you're really good with her and you have a good time playing her, I'm not going to discourage you from playing her, but I don't like seeing one on my team. Probably the least favorite hero I'd like to see on my team, because it makes me worried when I see one on my team that they're going to throw. Wraith, straight to the top of S tier, right? Wraith is absolutely... No, I'm kidding. I know a lot of people would say he is an S tier must pick or ban hero. Those players are playing at basically a Paragon level. I think he's great if you're great. That's the role that Wraith has always been. We'll put him right up here next to Rev. If you're good enough to not get pushed out of mid lane, not get your tower taken in the first 8 minutes, and clear and keep up in farm and whatnot. As Wraith, you're going to be in a really good spot late game. His gold gain augment I have played multiple games with, and it feels very good to be an item ahead of your opponent mid laner. But still just requires a lot of skill to get good value with him. Slow clear, poor mana management. I mean, you have to have really good mana management to keep up with your opponent mid laner. So great if you're great. That's where he's got to be for me. Drongo got a lot better. Drongo got significantly better. I don't know if he really jumps up super far. I think he is way better than he was, though. The grenade, the heal grenade is very strong. I think we'll have him right up here with Twin. Oh, sorry about that. I think we'll have him right up here with Twin. He is decent and situational. Not really as high a damage carry fundamentally as some of these other carries. Doesn't have as insane of tech, but does have the silence, and the heal grenade is very good. I think it's a situational heal grenade, right? If you can find the good heal grenade value, it is a huge heal, but it is a situational heal. How often of a situation do you want your carry to have a heal on him? Not every game. You still want to use it for a silence the majority of the time. The old augment is still decent, but it reduces his burst. It is good for mobility. Just a decent situational hero, on par with Twin, I would say, in the majority of the games right now. And then Terra. Low expectations is definitely how I would describe seeing a Terra on my team. I think we'll actually let phase slide below her, because a bad phase is actually like going to hurt your team more. A bad Terra is just going to maybe feed solo lane a little bit, and it won't be as bad. Terra, just at some high rank, she is very good because you have that CC immunity ult. But and you can build the Mutilator healing build similar to how you would Crunch, kind of, Mutilator Aug, Draconum type, Earthshaker, Voidhelm, Rapture type build on her, and it does feel okay. It's just she just doesn't quite have the edge she used to have. Like, her competition is too good. Her competition at solo lane is too good with heroes like Greystone running around over there. Even Aurora, she does counter somewhat, but I mean, you're not going to be able to put out more damage than Aurora unless you're just landing everything and you're on the Mutilator build. So I don't know. In jungle, obviously, she's nowhere near the caliber of the top junglers. So just a really low expectations hero for me. And that's going to do it. Let me look through here and see if there's anyone that really looks out of place. Picker bans, I think this is pretty good. I think this is kind of a decent order too. Greystone could drop a little bit, but he's just so easy to get good value out of. Sparrow, clearly the #1 carry right now. Always good value tier. Faye, she's the top mid laner right now in win rate at least, and in my experience. Steel Morn, very solid at support every single game, or solo lane. Count, Kira, Boris, yeah, Boris very good now in 1.6.2, I would say. Closer to able to compete with Chimera, still loses to Chimera a lot of the times, but closer to being able to compete with them. Aurora, Howie, Iggy, yep, all this looks good. Crunch looks good. Skylar could even move up some, but I think she's kind of kept in check by how good the other carries around her are. Bellica, this tier has a lot of mages in it. I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential viable mid laners here in the A tier. I could try to separate those out and spread them out some, but really there's so little to separate these with how good mages feel right now and how impactful they feel. I think we leave them all in A tier. It just kind of is what it is. They're just so consistently valuable. B tier, and Murdoch back here, I think is pretty fair. Same tier as Skylar and Kira, just kind of towards the bottom of it. And then B tier, great if you're great. That is like a big, make sure you're keeping that in mind when you're leaving your comment. That B tier is great if you're great, not the third worst tier, the third from the best heroes or whatever. Rev, very strong, very little room for error. Wraith, extremely little room for error, but extremely good late game if you're good with him at hitting the knocks. Richter, if you're hitting the pulls, he's a game changer. Grim, if you're able to get online and not fall behind, if your team needs that magical He can absolutely carry games. Ult resetting multiple times feels crazy on him right now, but you got to know when to hit it. Feng Mao, if you're able to play him near his limit, feels extremely good. Snowballs out of control if you get his passive going for sure. Wukong takes some skill to get going for sure. Can split push well, can jungle well. Ramp, got to hit those rocks, but still a very viable jungler. Tiny Ramp still feels good, especially in the mid to late game. Narbash, one of the highest win rate supports at higher ranks, very valuable. And then Yin Decker, yeah, I think if you know what you're doing with these heroes, you can have incredibly good games, and they can easily compete with any of these A-tier heroes. But just less room for error on some of these, I would say. C-tier looks good. Drongo, the top of it, I think is fair to say. Twin, again, has a lot of games that he'll shine in, but it's kind of situational. You got to be decent with him. Gadget, Sev, Zarus, you all want the game to go long to benefit from gaining stacks on them. But if the game does go long, you can easily just sweep with any of these three if it goes long enough. Shinbi, very decent split pusher, okay in jungle, wouldn't really recommend her to be honest with you. The competition's too steep. Mori, I would say have a little bit more self-respect and learn another mage if you're a big Mori player. But just go ahead and flame me in the comments, because I know she wins like every 1v1. I've been beat by Moris. It's just it's kind of a grossly designed hero, right? No CC, a universal execute ult. It's like, okay, whatever. My mid does a bunch of damage and can fend for herself somewhat, but where's the CC at for the team fights? Muriel, Zinx, range support's having a tough time right now. If you're good with either of these though, you can place one good ult or use one ult super effectively and swing a late game team fight and turn it around. So it's still very valuable if you're good with them, kind of situational, based on what your solo and jungle comp looks like, I would say. And then low expectations, Grux just in a poor spot. Can bully for free in solo lane and clear fast, but just not super insane augments the majority of the time. You're not really seeing him outcompete the other options at his roles. Kalari, not good augments. Argus, just okay. I've seen games where he does well, but just kind of okay right now. Terra, same kind of boat. You really have to work hard to get the value with her that she can provide with the CC immunity. Because damage out, you're either going to build tank and sacrifice damage output, or you're going to build damage output and sacrifice tank. If you get CC'd and you don't cleanse it or have your ult ready, and you're building damage output, you're probably going to get nuked still, especially by mid laners, since she's got less free magical armor now. And then Phase, don't play Phase, man. Just please either be incredibly good with Phase or don't play her. That's my recommendation for Phase. So that's the full tier list. I think that I'm happy with how that came out. We've got about 2 weeks to play on this patch. I'll zoom out here, by the way, and try to make sure I've got the whole tier list on the screen, because I don't know if it's all on the screen pretty well, but I'll zoom out and get it all tightened in. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this patch. Let me know where you would move these heroes around. What did I get wrong? What did I get right? Go on OmetaCity/heroes and check out all the hero statistics. I've linked it below. It's fun to play around on there and look at where, oh hey, my favorite hero's got a terrible win rate in silver but an amazing win rate in diamond. Well, is that a good sign or a bad sign? It depends on where you're playing. Thanks for stopping by. Looking forward to 1.7, the return of Legacy. The new hero leaks look crazy. We'll catch you on the next one. Come hang out with us in the live streams and keep enjoying Pred, folks. Just keep enjoying Pred.